Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hi, and welcome to this broadcast of Living Wise with MS. I'm your host, Kim Freiling-Resar. First, I'd like to thank MS&Me Radio, along with the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network, for this amazing opportunity. I think it is such an incredible initiative bringing together all of these various MS voices together to spread awareness and offer support to the greater MS community. The goal of this show and every Living Wise with MS broadcast is to empower people living with MS to live the best possible lives they can. Living Wise means so many different things, and with each broadcast, I hope to address the various components that make up the big picture of what it means to live the best possible life you can with this chronic illness. Before I get started, and I've now started all of my shows this way, is I want to stress to you how important it is that you find what works best for you. MS is such a variable disease, and although there are many similarities to what each of us experiences, what may work for one person may not work for another. So take everything people say, including me, with perspective, and really try to focus on and discover what works best for you and only you. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of valuable things that people have to say and a lot of valuable tips out there, things that you can take a little bit from everyone, but ultimately, I really believe that living the best possible lives you can come down to you and only you, and you need to be the ones to find what works for you. Having said all that, today's broadcast is very much along the similar lines of finding what works for you. And we're going to talk today about the importance of exercise when it comes to living with MS, and the importance of finding and utilizing an exercise program that you can adhere to and that you can use as part of your treatment of this disease. Now, there used to be a time when practitioners didn't encourage their patients with MS to exercise. It was thought that exercise would worsen the condition rather than be of a benefit. Now you can find studies left, right, and center touting all of the benefits of exercise and saying that exercise is truly a key component to living well with MS. Exercise has been shown to have positive effects on symptoms that often accompany MS. Exercise has also been shown to slow the progression of the disease and is also extremely beneficial to brain health. As I've said in previous broadcasts, I was diagnosed with MS in 2003, and I'm sure my story is very similar to a lot of your stories. At the time of my diagnosis, I had lost partial use of the left side of my body. And when I heard the doctor say MS, I thought my days of doing anything physical were over. And that was a real blow to my self-esteem and my self-identity, because I had been an athlete my whole life. And now, having been told that I have this debilitating disease, it was quite a blow. And it took me a while to recover, as I've also talked about previously, that I had to go through a process. But once my body recovered and I got health back and mentally was wrapped around what this meant, I got to a point in my life where I said, my body's working now. My body has healed. My legs are working. I should use them. I should take advantage of them. I should value and cherish the fact that I can do these things now. So take advantage of it because I don't know what the future brings. I don't know what tomorrow brings. So why not take advantage and use what I have and what I can use. Um, so I needed to do something. Um, so I started, I joined a gym. I started some exercise programs. I did spinning and kickboxing and yoga and weight training. And I tried a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and something stuck for months. But really, what I've found, and you have to find something that you can kind of incorporate into your life and that you can stick to and that becomes part of your routine. And the thing that I have found that really has stuck with me, that I've continued to do and do on a daily basis, several times a week, is walking and then running. It's actually, my walking started off and then it kind of morphed into, I wanted to raise my exercise level. I wanted to amp it up a little bit. So I started running. And now, don't get me wrong, we'll go into my experiences with running, and I know running's not for everyone. And it wasn't necessarily, I didn't think it was for me either. I always say that MS made me a runner. I did not like running before MS. I hated it. And when I say I hated it, I mean I hated it. It was not something I sought out. It was not an activity that I found enjoyable. And I have to say that although it was really stressful at first and really strenuous and hard to do, I actually found myself that I actually enjoy running, and it's my outlet now, and it's a part of my life and my exercise routine, and it really helps me manage living with MS. So what I found with my exercise programs and with regularly exercising, that, as I mentioned before, it helps to keep me physically healthy. It has helped with maintaining my weight. I would say I've been pretty consistent with my weight since the time of diagnosis. I've kept it at a pretty level weight. I have not fluctuated much up or down. Also, other benefits that I've noticed from incorporating exercise is my self-image and my confidence. It really boosted me up when a time that I felt so down, and it it awakened in me the fact that I could do things that I never thought I could do, and it was challenging me and giving me a goal that I could seek out and try to achieve. Um, it was also helping just with my overall mental state. I have to say it was elevating my mood. It was helping me to better manage stress. And apparently it turns out that, I'm a much happier and nicer person to be around if I can get a run in. My husband will often joke with me, if I haven't run in a while, he can almost see the stress and the tension building up inside of me, and it's almost, I don't want to say like a caged animal, but it kind of is, and I need to go and get that relief. I need to get that out, and a lot of times I do that through my running. And also, I would say that running has helped me with getting to a level of mindfulness. Um, you often hear that is a benefit for brain health and for people living with MS, is to de-stress and to come to find states of mindfulness. And running has done that for me, where I will get into my head. I will work out the stressors that are going on in my life or any kind of thing that might be bothering me. Or I also just kind of zone out and I just concentrate on the movement of my body. And I find that that really helps me just kind of refocus and engage myself and have a state of that kind of mindfulness. Um, in addition to just helping with physical health and with mental health, running also, which I'm kind of in disbelief because I didn't believe it and it kind of didn't make sense to me, but it's helped with the horrible fatigue that came along with MS. I had um, to take a daily ritual nap just to make it through my days. And once I stepped up my exercise program and was more consistent with it, those daily naps got fewer and farther in between, to the point now where I might nap every once in a blue moon. I still have my days and my afternoons where I get that fatigue and that cognitive fog and stuff, and I will need to perhaps on those days lay down for about a 20-minute reboot. It's what I call my Control Alt Delete. So I need to lay down just to reboot myself, and then I can tackle the rest of the day. But I'll tell you, after, as I said previously, after stepping up my exercise program, those naps are few and far in between. Every once in a blue moon, I may lay down for that nap. Um, but I think the most important thing, and we've talked about this previously, and it'll probably keep coming up, is the empowerment that I feel through exercise, especially running. It, it I think running for me has been the exercise of choice because it was something before MS that I felt like I couldn't do. So in a way, it's regardless of MS, it's something that was there before, and it's something I didn't think I could do before MS, that now with a chronic illness, it's even that much more of a motivation to do it. And it's kind of empowering me in my fight against multiple sclerosis. And as I said before, I know running is not for everyone, but I cannot stress enough, and like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, finding an exercise program that you enjoy and that you can adhere to, just like taking your DMTs. Can you stick to a program and keep it going throughout life and make it part of your daily routine and a part of your life? And I can tell you that when I don't, I can feel it. I really can feel if I slip up at all with my exercise program. So I'd say it's pretty much kept me consistent because I know it makes me feel good and I know it's good for me in the long run. And I know I have to keep myself motivated. It's very hard to stay motivated. And I know, like I said before, and I'm going to probably keep saying it, I know running is not for everyone. I didn't think it was for me. And, I have to remind myself why I'm doing it. I'm training for life. I'm training to live the best possible life I can while I can. And I'm fighting MS every step of the way. And I'm not going to let it get the best of me. I tell this joke that I'm kind of running ahead of MS and trying to keep ahead of it. So I kind of stick my tongue out and say, "Hey, MS, catch me if you can," because I'm just going to keep going for as long as I can. Now I know everyone's MS is different, and we're all affected by it in so many various ways. But there are so many programs out there and so many new programs being developed. I see all the time in the news feed about a YMCA across the country that are coming out with programs specifically tailored to people with MS. And I also became familiar with a exercise program that's an online program that is specifically tailored for MS patients. And they have standing programs as well as programs for people who are in a wheelchair. And the great thing about that is that you can do it from anywhere. So if you don't have accessibility to a gym or to a Y, or it's a far drive for you to take, you can do it out of the comfort of your home or in a hotel room, wherever you may be. You can get that exercise program in, which I think is just fabulous. And it's just great for the community, the MS community. Um, so in addition, just like I've said previously, and I can't stress enough, find something you love to do. I mean, I think that's the easiest. It could be, doesn't have to be running. It doesn't have to be any great feat. It can be gardening. It can be dancing. It can just be walking around the block, taking your dog for a walk. It can be anything that you enjoy. And I think it's really, really, truly important, and you'll find that you feel better doing it. So a little bit more about my running. Um, it, it's it has gotten easier, and it's gotten to the point where it's a necessity in my life that I have to do it. I can't fully control what's happening inside my body, but I can do as much as possible to fight it every step of the way. I found that I enjoy the movement of my body. I've enjoyed um, visualizing the fact that my body is still a working and powerful structure, and it's not this fragile thing being eaten away by multiple sclerosis. Exercising is empowering me in this fight and making me stronger mentally as well as physically. And things that keep me going, MS keeps me going. MS is motivating me. It's awakening in me something that I thought I had to give up after my MS diagnosis. And it's also, having been an athlete my whole life, it's my way of keeping hold of who I am. And even with things, I run in local 5Ks, and after my first 5K that I did, I was hooked. I loved the spirit of the event, the community, and even the competition. And when I say competition, I'm not competing against others, but I'm competing against myself, and I'm challenging myself. And I love the feeling of accomplishment after a run is completed. And to me, there's no better feeling. And I've even moved on with this and gone a little bit further. And I've done, to mark my 10th anniversary, I ran in a 10-mile race, which wasn't the best of experiences because I learned that I didn't train properly for it and it didn't hydrate well. And I was in a lot of pain after that race, but it didn't stop me. I went on and have run in to mark, I'm big on anniversaries, if you couldn't tell. And to mark my 13th year living with MS, I ran in my first half marathon. And it was just an incredible experience for me and a challenge that I wanted to undertake because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. You know, there used to be a statistic out there, and it's still, I see it floating around every once in a while, that um, typically after 10 years of relapsing, remitting MS, that patients tend to go on to the next stage or move on to secondary progressive. And I think, me running is kind of showing that statistic is not realistic anymore, that people with MS are living better lives, healthier lives, and staying ahead of this chronic disease. Um, I on these runs that I do locally, it was part of my motivation. I wear my MS Warrior t-shirt, and that's my way of raising awareness for the disease and showing people who might not know about MS that this is what MS looks like. I'm a person with MS that you can't tell by looking at me that I have this disease. See, there's a lot of invisible symptoms that you can't tell, but this is my way of raising awareness. This is what MS looks like. And it has, by wearing those T-shirts to these races, I have sparked a lot of conversation with people who may have known someone with MS or may have a family member with MS or even don't know anything about MS and ask me about it, which I think, what better way to raise awareness than to start those conversations with the public? Um, and it's not always easy, I have to say, and you have to listen to your body, and you should talk to your healthcare practitioner before doing any kind of exercise program. When I discussed the running that I was doing with the nurse practitioner I see at the MS clinic, I said, "Is this okay? Am I all right to be doing these things?" And she said, "Yeah, it's great. Go ahead and running's great for you. The exercise is great for you. I'm not sure what it's going to do to your joints, but it's great that you're exercising and staying active." So again, keep everything in perspective. Listen to your body, what your body can do, what feels good for you. But just know that movement is helping you. Any movement is good movement. And if you can get moving, if you can find something you enjoy, if you find a buddy, I can't recommend it enough. It is honestly helped me manage MS, and I can't encourage you enough to try something. That all being said, all the benefits of exercise, staying motivated is a hard thing to do. But if you can remember, these are some of the things, I'll list some of the things that keep me motivated, and maybe you can kind of think about yourself and your life and what would keep you motivated. So first and foremost, I'm doing this for me. This is about my life and about my health, and I'm taking the time to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, and I'm doing a program that I have found that feels good for me. And when I'm telling my story to you about this, it's not to make anyone feel bad about not being able to do this. And I want I want to, when I see incredible stories about women with MS or men with MS doing Ironmans or marathons, to me that's just so inspiring, and that all of us should be inspired by it because it's a win for all of us, and or it's seeing someone who's now using a walker or a cane and celebrating the fact that they walked a mile around their neighborhood. I mean, that's incredible. Anything that you can do, I think, is just a win for all of us. And when I tell this story, it's my personal win, but I hope it's a collective win for all of us. I mean, look how far MS research and treatment has come, that to the fact that I've been living with MS for 14 years and I decide on my 13th year that I'm going to run a half marathon. To me, that's an incredible thing and something that we should all be inspired by. And I hope that it gives hope not only for people living with MS, but those who are newly diagnosed. Because I remember that time after diagnosis thinking that my world was over and that it was done and that I was not going to be active again, and that life as I knew it was going to change drastically. And it did change drastically. And I have to say, not for the worse. I think that we can empower ourselves, and exercise is one way that I'm empowering myself. And as I said before, I do it just for all of the MS warriors. We're all fighting it, each and every day. I don't always have an easy go of it. There are times when I'm running and my feet and legs will go numb, or I will trip and fall, or embarrassingly, but it happens, and I'm told by other runners that it happens even if you don't have MS. I've lost complete bladder control on runs. And to me, though, that these things are fleeting and they only happen really during the runs. And once I cool down and stretch, those symptoms go away. And to me, just those annoying symptoms, the positives of doing my exercise program far outweigh those annoying symptoms. And there's ways around them. I do try to listen to my body as best as I can and to manage what I can. But for the most part, the positives definitely outweigh the negatives. And I always, in addition to having a running partner or two that I occasionally run with, I have told all of my running partners that there's always a third running partner that's always with me, or with me on my runs when I go solo. There's always someone with me. And that person, it's not really a person, it's more of an image, or I say like a ghostly kind of apparition that I just imagine and I visualize. And it's the person, it's me, who was diagnosed in 2003, who couldn't run, who couldn't walk, who was shuffling basically to get where she needed to go, dragging the left side of her uncooperative body with her. And to feel the strength in my body now that I'm running and overcoming that and not that person anymore, and hopefully keeping that person at bay for as long as I can. That to me is truly motivating to keep moving forward, to keep going. Hopefully I can keep the progression off for as long as possible. Now, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep this exercise program up, but I've made a commitment to myself and I want to keep that going. And if running is not the thing for me, I'll find something else. I do truly believe I'll find something because I know in the end it's making me feel good. And I think it's just about normalizing the living with MS as well. And doing things that are out of the scope of what people think that someone with MS can do. And I know, and it breaks my heart when I hear that some people have written about running before or talked about running before, and they say that MS took their running. And it breaks my heart. But then that's also another motivator for me. That's why that keeps me going. And I think about those people on my run, and it does motivate me. It does keep me going. And I also do it for my family and my kids, especially my kids. I want them to see me and to realize that mom's fighting to keep as healthy as she can for them, and to set an example to say that anything that comes their way, that they can overcome it. And it means the world to me when I see their faces waiting for me at the finish line. And I loved my 5-year-old's reaction when I finished my second half marathon, and I came running over the line and kind of over out of breath and getting my water, and Mom, that was awesome. And then he kind of looked at me and goes, "Can we go home now? Like, I've been waiting here the whole time. I just want to go home now. Like, it's great, great, all that you ran 13.1 miles, but I really want to go home." So it was cute. I mean, he might not completely get it, but I feel like someday they will understand my fight and the reason why I might go a little overboard with things, because I want to show them that, nothing can defeat them. And as I said before, I want to raise awareness for multiple sclerosis. I want all of us to to break those misconceptions of what it means to live with MS, and to show people what someone with MS can look like and what someone with MS can do. I think we've come a long, long way, and I can't encourage you enough. The education that's out there about, like I've said at the beginning of this broadcast, practitioners didn't think that exercise was good for people with MS, and now they know it is. We've come a long way, and I just ask you to take advantage of that. Just try anything. Just try to get moving. Try to find something that works for you. Please join me with future broadcasts when I tackle other ways of trying to live wise with MS, to try to find ways to empower yourselves to live better lives with MS. You can find me on livewisems.org, which is a new patient and caregiver resource site brought to you by the International Organization of MS Nurses. It's a great website, and I'm not just saying it because I work on it, but it's a great website that provides clinical content. Uh, we give patient summaries of clinical content, so what your practitioners are reading, the textbooks and journal articles that your practitioners are reading, we summarize that and give you a snapshot of what's important to you and what the information means to you. So you can go to the website, or you can also find us on social media. LiveWise MS has social media sites on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, and we also have an Instagram account. There's also some great videos online. We have a YouTube channel as well. I highly recommend you to check us out there. You can also contact me at editor@livewisems.org. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I hope all of you stay well, and we'll talk soon about living wise with MS. Thank you.